the email we sent out about 10 minutes ago. So, solution directions. It's all about putting ideas together to achieve a better solution. Okay, sorry about that. Looks like I got muted. Solution directions are all about putting ideas together to achieve your goal. But let's look at where we've been in our learning journey. So this is the learning journey. Again, the different stages we go through to approach this problem solving in a more creative, engaging, collaborative, inclusive way, and to look at the problem with more depth than we normally do. So in stage one, we learned some mindsets and behaviors, and we saw there that there were 6 or 7 mindsets and a couple core behaviors like showing your work early and often and the collaborative cycle. Very systems-oriented way of approaching your mindset. So there's, beginner's mind, etc. In stage two was understanding your problem. And think about what we did and you're doing in that area. You're talking to 5, 7, 12 people to understand their experience. You're mapping out the workflows or the experiences they have. You're looking at other aspects of the problem. What are the policies that we follow? What are the kind of industry standards for this kind of work? What is going on elsewhere in the world? And you also looked at the systems nature of your problem and who are the other players and who else is involved, right? Who are the stakeholders? Who are the other actors? How does value flow through this? So you looked at so many different dimensions. Why? Because the better you understand the problem, the better you can craft a solution to solve it where it's going to be adopted, it's going to be resilient, it's going to be sustainable. That's how you get there. So we really took time to understand that problem. Now we're in stage 3. We're in stage 3, where you started saying, here are our insights from the research, and here are some of the key insights I have, some of the key pain points that people have, the things we've learned about other solutions. So it's a very rich environment we put you through in order to better understand your problem and start to frame and focus where you're going to solve your problem. So now we're going to start thinking about solutions, and all of these things you did play a role in the solution. So lots of information. So I ask you a question. How could one idea that you have really address the full scope of issues you've identified and insights that you've had? How could you really say, I think the idea is we should do this. I think we should do this, right? And maybe you're debating between 2 ideas. Well, how could that one idea, whichever one you choose, possibly solve everything? And the answer is it can't. It can't because any good solution is the combination of multiple ideas that address all those issues or a core set of those issues and come together in a way that helps solve your problem and give it direction and purpose and kind of cohesiveness that a solution needs. So we talk about having a solution direction, not an idea. And a solution direction is a combination of ideas that support a central intention to address the opportunity. It's kind of the focus, the way you're going to come at that problem. And you see a word in here, central intention, which I gave a little italics to, right? What do I mean by central intention? Well, a central intention is basically the essence of your solution direction, the way you're going to have to come at it to basically provide a resilient, sustainable solution, something that's going to work, right? And you start to get that feeling from all that research you do. So the one team that's working on peer support, peer recovery services, right? One of the core insights was, these people want to be involved in activities in the community that reintegrate them or integrate them into a way of living that doesn't fall back on those old environments or activities or triggers that made them drink or have, that get them in that lifestyle. So they said they have to integrate. So we need peer support services that integrate into multiple activities in the community and not just a meeting that you come to at our facility, which has all things associated with it. Those were insights. So that's a central intention for the direction. But now the question is, how do you deliver on that? And you don't deliver on it with one idea. You deliver on it with many ideas. So let me give you some examples, and we'll break these down. And through these 4 or 5 examples, you're going to start seeing, and hopefully I want you to get into a rhythm of like, if we want to do this, then we might do this and this and this and this and put those things together to create a solution. So one central intention could be a quirky neighborhood grocery store with unique, convenient products. Let me know in the chat if you recognize these examples, right? Let me know if you can name these things. A low-cost regional airline. That's fun to fly. Yeah. Oh well, it's an airline. I didn't. Okay. What solution is that? I didn't give anything away. It's an airline. Low-cost regional airline that's fun to fly. Okay. Accessible, affordable, DIY, or even BIY, build-it-yourself furniture. And we need to create a creative job immersion for opportunity youth, right? So these are central intentions. They're almost like taglines, right? And that's going to form the core of your solution that you're going to wrap ideas around to achieve it. Okay, so let's look, right? So that first one, a quirky neighborhood store, is Trader Joe's, right? Trader Joe's isn't one idea. It's a combination of things. What is it? They pull all these things together to achieve their goals. So they're smaller footprints. You can't have a huge store in a small neighborhood. You can't have a huge store in a neighborhood. So you need a smaller footprint for those stores. Oh, well, we can't carry all the major brands then. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to have primarily Trader Joe's branded products and some essentials, right? And we're going to have how else can we make this store great? Let's have friendly, supportive staff, and let's give them colorful shirts. Let's have them wear like Hawaiian shirts and stuff. And let's let them pick out the ones they want to wear, but the only criteria is they're colorful and fun. Right? So I'm starting to imagine the teams like you brainstorming your idea. And that's how I'm going to talk about these things as I itemize them. Let's have quirky descriptions of our products, and we'll send out a flyer in our communications that kind of talks about things in a fun way and uses a lot of irony and maybe double entendres, double meanings, and puns and stuff like that. Let's do that in our communications, and let's figure out ways to make it fun for kids. Right? Oh, we could hide a prize in the store every day or once a week, and if a kid finds it, we'll celebrate them and give them something for fun, right? So this is the pre-Trader Joe's team brainstorming of what it could be. All right, that second one, a regional airline that's fun to fly, is Southwest. What do? They decided let's build an airline that tries to be economical, and so nobody likes airline food anyway. Forget all these passenger services and accoutrements. Let's hand out peanuts. What if we just handed out peanuts? Right? I'm writing these ideas down. I'm brainstorming. And Forget seat assignments that cause so much confusion. Like, we waste so much time. Everybody's like, I want seat A, B. I said, hey, why don't we have them just line up according to maybe some priorities of when they bought their ticket. And they can line up and they can go in the plane and they can choose the seat they want. What if we did it that way? And we definitely want inexpensive tickets. And we want frequent and fast departures. And so we got to do some things like have a single type of plane. So did you know Southwest has a single type of plane? What does this allow them to do? This is a true strategic choice. It allows them to train all their mechanics in one plane. And that's the only thing they need to know. They don't need to know 6 different planes, or they don't need to hire for 6 different mechanics. It allows all the crews that are turning them around to know exactly and very efficiently turn them around, right? And it knows they can have the same size gate at every airline. What I want you to see in these examples is that all of these ideas add up to that central intention or tagline. And we're gonna hire people with personality, and we're gonna let them use their personality and not be stiff corporate representatives. And so they can tell jokes, they can try to is that risky? Maybe we'll run into a few things, but if they're just having fun, we should be okay. And it should make the experience more delightful, right? Okay. 4th one, the build it your own, low cost, modern, accessible furniture is IKEA. The stores themselves show the product in setting, right? They set up full living rooms or bedrooms or kitchens, and they deck them out with everything they have in the store. And so everything in that room, it's like The Price is Right. Everything in that room is you can buy it or you can have it, right, if you want it. But they really show that creativity of how beautiful this simple, lower cost furniture can be to create a nice environment. But how are we going to get there? Well, if it's going to be affordable, we're going to have them build it themselves. So everything we design needs to pack efficiently into small cardboard boxes, and we're going to make the after they see it in the showroom, they can go down to the warehouse, pick it out themselves, and go check out. These are ideas to make that the vision of what IKEA is and what it makes accessible to people. These are the ideas that bring it alive. What if we had, now it's going to take some time to figure out, like if they're buying a whole room of furniture, it's going to take some time. They're going to want to bring their kids, and let's put a cafeteria in the store. What if we had a cafeteria and we could do meatballs, Swedish meatballs, and salmon and lox, and whatever else they serve. We have plenty of dill and lingonberry, right? Let's have that in the store, and people can grab lunch when they're there. And a hot dog is 50 cents or whatever. It's some outrageous, it doesn't cost much to eat there. Okay, what else? A children's play area. Yeah, let your kids play in the ballroom and have fun while you go and shop. And we'll have somebody on staff, trained staff person, taking care of your kids. A lot of this stuff sounds funny saying now in the era of COVID, but yeah, get those kids in the balls and just have them play around. That's awesome. Okay, and what else do they decide? These massive warehouse stores are going to be located out the city, very inconveniently, way out, because we can build them we won't spend a ton purchasing and operating real estate in a city, which is very expensive. Awesome. Oh, I love this. I'm not looking at a lot of the comments, but this is a good one. Kutbular. Nice. Oh, thanks, Sophie. Love it. All right. So that's IKEA. And then one last one. It's one of the ones I showed you, but we can take any of the analogs we looked at during our learning journey. So this was the Exposure Studio that I shared with you that I was able to do with the Kellogg Foundation for kids who have left high school, but to give them an alternative pathway to a career. And so I use this solution direction and this central theme to create this overall program that had all these little elements that work together. So we wanted a frugal but creative environment. So this is going to be a nonprofit. There's never enough money for nonprofit for expensive facilities, but they don't have to be crappy. What's an inexpensive but creative space? Artist studios. Artist studios are like plywood, but you got paints and canvases and experiments. And an artist studio is a great metaphor for what we were trying to create here. A place for exploration, a place to discover your talents and the types of jobs that are available in the world. What if we were brainstorming? What if we treated kids with respect and interest and not make any judgments of why they dropped out of school? What if we just treated them as talent that could be cultivated and nurtured? And we're trying to help them discover a passion and a purpose when most of their life they've been told they're no good, they're not good at school, they're never going to amount to anything. What if we flipped that on its head and told them they can be whatever they want? And so we're going to treat the kids differently than the school system has treated them. And we're going to visit people at work. The daughter or son at your work day, I don't even know if they have that anymore. High schools used to visit factories and places all around the city to learn about work. They don't do that anymore. It's been overtaken by intellectual teaching above the head. So let's visit people at work and hear their stories. And while we're there, what if we had the kids just try a little exercise with what? So let's go to an advertising firm and have them brainstorm. Let's go to a bakery and have them put chocolate on strawberries. Let's have them try those things for a 20-minute exercise to see if they like it. And let's foster reflective discussions with them. Let's not test them about what they learned. Let's foster reflective discussions because we can hear what they're thinking about, whether they like something, what they're curious about, etc. So putting all those things together, you get a concept. You get a solution that has multiple elements and distinct characteristics that are appropriate to the problem you've identified. And to express these, now I've been using lots of lists in all these examples, but what we do to kind of create them originally is we use bubble diagrams. So just think solution direction and bubble diagrams, because that's what you're going to use to practice these or to do it for your own project, right? And so what you see in these solutions is kind of like clusters. So I want to have reflective conversations. We want to elicit their strengths, interests and strengths. Maybe over here it's going to be a studio environment, and we're going to be visiting people at work. So this is about environment. Down here is creating or really showing job content, not by describing jobs generically, but by having the people who do those jobs tell their own story. How did I get there? What do I like about the job? What's so hard about the job? What would I tell somebody who's interested in this, right? So we're really going to make the job content visceral. And then down here you can tell how old this is. We talked about a media channel and visceral content and social plugins and stuff. But clearly we would be sharing this to attract, we would be sharing this on YouTube and other places to attract people to this program, right? So this bubble diagram, you can see there's about 20, 30 ideas on this page that come together that all support the central thesis or the central intention of creating the space for kids to discover career opportunities in their own interests. And so that's what you'll do. Okay, so solution directions are putting together ideas to create an overall solution. You consider your top insights and your how might we statements and things that have been kind of developing in your brain without you knowing while you're sleeping. Like, we should really be thinking about this and approaching the problem this way, right? Coming out of the field, it isn't at all what we thought. We think we need to do it this way. We need to find a way to easily and conveniently collect information that will prove our case to get a sustainable food system, right? You kind of got this direction that your solution could go. Write this overall theme. Try to get a tagline. Our solution is about blah. And try to give it a central intention for that solution. Try to capture that with a tagline or something. like I've showed you earlier in the slides. Now you can choose existing ideas you've had or brainstorm new ones to support that central intention. And it's going to be a combination. Those ideas are a combination of dimensions, elements, aspects, and I'll show you that list in a second. But how will you achieve that intention? So this is what we want to do. We want to create a peer support group that engages people in new social behaviors in the community and not just at our facility, and reduces stigma, etc. Okay, start laying that out in a solution map, in a bubble diagram. Brainstorm it first. Just start putting them down. So use a bubble diagram with those ideas to create a solution direction. And you're going to play with them and evaluate them to kind of iterate. Now remember, if you go back through these slides, when we post them, you'll see that in some of those examples, there are characteristics or specific ideas, like one plane type for Southwest is a very specific kind of strategic decision and choice, but it's a very tangible way to achieve the goal of low cost. So think about, what activities will we have? How will we communicate? And those all can have great little creative ideas in them. And I think this is the important point of solution directions. None of these ideas you do need to be world-changing or revolutionary. They just need to address one or more issues in a unique way that gives it some character, that gives it some value. And then put 15 or 20 of those together, and you'll have a groundbreaking solution. Do you see how that works? Each one is addressing some aspect that continues to build that overall theme of how you're approaching the solution. So, new policies you might have to create, new service touch points. You're changing the assumptions in that sector. You know, we're going to treat kids with respect and not test them, and we're going to be curious about them instead of telling them they're not going to amount to anything. You could figure out ways that people interact. You know, Walmart's greeters was a very original. Hey, we're going to have somebody standing at the door greeting people and welcoming them, asking them if they can help them right when they come in. Simple details. Think about what you're not going to do and the role tech plays, etc. So these ideas can be anything that are relevant to your solution. So it's real simple. You just start drawing bubbles. Maybe you have make sure you look at your central intention. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. I want to do this. Sorry. I want to do that. So write down a central intention and then maybe some sub-intentions or big ideas, or if you have some small ideas you want to do, throw them down and then build all around it, right? So it's as simple as a bubble diagram. And you should have fun with this. You should really be bringing out that sense of creativity and like, how can we address that? And how can we address that? Nobody's going to want to participate. How might we encourage them to participate, right? How will we initially train them? You know, one of these modules might be ramp up and training that's fun and expressive and open, and you do some things in your organization that change how the day is because you're starting this new program, right? There's just lots of ideas you can do. Okay, so remember, this is IKEA in a bubble diagram instead of a list. There's 15 ideas in there that help them achieve their intention. So again, do these iteratively. Do these get one out there with no worry about if it's right or not, and then share it and get some feedback on it. So are there both intentions in your characteristics or descriptions of how it should be, and then tangible ideas for how you achieve it? This is the one thing you got to really look at, is how many of those bubbles are how we'll do it versus what we want to be able to do in terms of a characteristic. So make it easy for people to give feedback is not a how. It's a directive. It's like we have to find ways to make it easy for people to give feedback. So some of those things would be, how do we make it easy to feedback? Fun feedback sheets everywhere that you could pick up at any time and scribble on it and give it to your friend, right? One of the things Blake did was the thank you bucks, right? There was Monopoly money. They wrote a note and gave it to people as a indication of appreciation and recognition of a job well done. And they just had that monopoly money all over the clinic. Okay, so make sure there's how you will do it. That's what the whole idea of these ideas are. And how might we elicits hows, not more intentions. Are all the ideas helping support the central intention or theme? Sometimes you start getting brainstorming, you'll recognize, this one's really supporting a different theme. Break that off and put it on its own solution map. And you can create multiple solution maps to see how you might approach it differently. Maybe this one's really high tech and using big support from funders. This one's community driven. And this is how we're going to get it done. So it's perfectly cool to have 2 or 3 different solution maps to explore how you might solve it. And can you make a second map, achieving the central idea differently? I just mentioned that, right? And it's okay if you create a map and it's like, well, we couldn't possibly commit to doing all these things. But that's fine. Look at it and say, which ones would we start with first if we can't do it all? What's the first thing we kind of pull together? And it might be something you end up prototyping. So that's solution directions. A really kind of creative, fun way to put multiple ideas together for your project, for your solution. So you should see how this kind of evolves from all the different dimensions you looked at in research, framing something up in a point of view about what you're solving, starting to get insights about a direction for solving it, brainstorming how, using how might we's to brainstorm ideas, and now you're pulling those ideas together